guys, what's up? So we are going to be looking at what's the best damn thing about you. We're starting with Aries because obviously, what's the best thing about the creation, the imaginative one, the toddler mind, which can be very appealing and friendly and fun and vibrant and magnetic. Aries energy can be so delightful to be in, and you guys really are like the sweethearts. It's just Mars thinks that emotions are weaknesses, so that's not your fault. What's the best thing about you? What's your strength here? Okay. Oh, dang. Yeah. Wow. Aries, and you know what's funny is, you guys, I have so many Aries friends. My Libra rising just attracts it. And all of my Aries friends do this. You are always wondering what you should pick up and put down. You're always working on a goal. You're always taking action or thinking about your next step. A lot of Aries energy is that it whirlwinds through, and we do have the tower down here. Fire and air can whirlwind through people's lives. So when you think you're moving forward or towards people to love them, to be that sweetheart of yourself with them, they think you're abrasive or whatever, right? But then you figure it out anyways. You go through a process alone. You always end up being the lone wolf. You always end up resetting by yourself. You always get back up on your feet. You always try again, and you never talk about it. You never talk about that struggle. You just try to keep that as a moment for when people are not happy around. Like, don't ruin anyone else's fun kind of vibe. I think you hold a lot on your shoulders, but I think that's what this is what's your best trait, is that you can handle anything, and you don't need to talk about it, and you don't need validation for it. You just know with your mind and moving forward what it is and what it was, and you're just very confident in that. You're confident in continuing to move forward despite people letting you down or finding closure. We have the Three of Cups, the Moon, the Knight of Wands, and the Tower. What's another good thing about you, my sweetheart Aries, is that you allow your relationships to change you. You allow yourself to be affected by them because you enter into them fully. You dance with them, and then you fight with them, and then you figure them out, or you figure out what you need to do next. You lead with your mind. I think you lead a lot with your autopilot intuition, because you're really good at naturally putting things into action. Again, if people aren't from that mind, they're going to see it as abrasive, but just taking action. I think you need a Sag. Someone's like, ew, no. I think you need someone who does the exact same thing as you, but won't restrict you. Sag pops in my mind. Maybe an Aquarius. Or a Libra, or a Cancer that will follow, perhaps. Okay, anyways. The cards are saying you're the leader, Aries. You're the leader, but you always think you get the short end of the stick. You never feel like you're in lead. You never feel like you're communicating that you're leading, but you always assume that you're the leader. That is how you walk through life. Okay. Tell me a good thing about how Aries thinks, where this strategy in war, Mars being the planet of war and weaponry, That Cancer and Aqua vibe, it's like rounding it out. Maybe you have something like that in your chart. Okay, so how does the way that Aries sees the world is ruled by Mars, planet of war and weaponry, but strategy and passion. Oh yeah, fire. Lots of passion with that Aquarius energy. How is Mars helping Aries to see the world? What's the unique part of Aries' mind? Water. You see love. That makes so much sense because Aries love to be in love. Fire signs love to be in love. Okay. What fell in my lap was Cancer. I feel the need to say a Cancer might have fallen in your lap and you might not be too thrilled or something, but I think this is the most reasonable path forward for whatever reason, is either tapping into that home, the sweetheart vibe, like pulling that back out of you, or reawakening it in some way, nesting, right? Some kind of home care, or being with someone who is not judging you and willing to move when you move. What you might be running into that is not seeing you that way or not understanding this about you is more of this like-minded energy within you. If you gravitate towards very similar people, like Pisces, especially if you're on the cusp of Aries and Pisces, or maybe like Earth, because Aries likes to gravitate towards Virgo for the grounded sake, and that it's like you're having all your needs met in here. And so it's like you've been seeking your needs through love, maybe. And maybe that's the beautiful thing about your mind, is that you know you need it if it applies to love. And it's saying maybe you feel unlucky in that. And if you do, it's trying to say it's okay to try a different way. Look at this. And air and water. It's like you feel like a hurricane. You feel like a hurricane, like in you, and that you are one. And then that's what bears this burden of you always have to reset by yourself or without talking about it. So it's like your greatest gift might be your biggest weakness might be, if you can lean into that, it might change your next cycle. Because it's coming off as that you're so sensitive, but that you're not engaging in other sensitive behaviors, like other people aren't engaging like that with you. But your gift is that that's what you do. It's almost like, what's funny is that is kind of the Cancerian pull to life, is loving people, making sure that unconditional love has a chance to be true. Aries, what would we do without you? I mean, what would we do without you? I'm just kidding. I'm totally just kidding. Okay. How does Aries move that's really cool or unique to them? I already feel this is going to be something that nobody else knows. It's only you. like you don't display it, because it might be a weakness to display it or have it perceived as emotional. Oh, I just heard sewing. Ace of Pentacles. You are really good at working with your hands and building things. I'm feeling like a gardening, like a very Empress vibe of, you might just have a natural knack for anything living. I think you're also more conscious than you think you are. I think you're thinking you haven't been conscious because of how things have been going. The Chariot. But it's, you lead, you lead in any moment as you are. You don't restrict it. You don't try to change it for anybody. That's what we all need to do. We need to just live and let it flow. You're really good at being on a team, not taking over the team, not stepping up when you're not asked to. You're really good at letting other people be the other parts of the equation. That is loving them. You're trusting them. I just heard that that's also that's your crux, is that you trust people too easily, and then it's like you exit cycles with complete mistrust in most people, or most people that were involved. It doesn't get worked out the way that you need it to, in terms of how you're viewing the relationship, whether it's being loving or not. It's funny that that's the challenge of Mars. I always like to say that your curse is your blessing until you just have to figure out how to channel it or when to use it. But it'll eat you alive before you figure out it's continually going to come out of you. Tell me about Aries' heart a little bit more. You guys, I'm feeling like a deep, deep pain for like children. Like a heaviness for like troubled children. You don't leave people behind. You don't leave kids behind. You don't leave kids behind. Aries also kind of grows up fast, so maybe being the strategist, Mars influenced you in some way to feel like you had to protect everyone, so you naturally grew older, quicker, and you didn't get to experience that childhood, but you want to preserve it in everybody else. Whoa. Good for you. Nobody could have done anything better with that energy, let me tell you. The Three of Swords, and it's right under that King of Cups again. You don't talk about this. You don't talk about it, you just hold it. You allow yourself to be the blame or the hurricane. Quit telling yourself that you are, and you won't be. Queen of Pentacles and the Emperor. That's who you are. You're business-minded, you're a leader, you're capable. The Emperor with the Queen of Pentacles is very balanced, because it means that you can cultivate your money from a place of caring about everyone, from considering everyone. Aries being that toddler energy, the creation, that first in the zodiac, it wants to look out for everyone. That's what the nature of kids is. That's really what the nature of us is before we're told not to. Before we have separate fences, and the mind can take things so far, and Aries just knows that but doesn't subscribe to it. Not always. And in the moments that Aries just decides to leap 2 feet first is how big energy is pushed and how big things are made. So you guys are more movers and shakers. You're not the daily grinds like the Taurus, like the Virgo, like the Cap. You guys are more, I have so much welling energy that if I don't spend it in adrenaline or some sense of flow, then I'm going to have to put it somewhere. And it can be self-destructive if you don't have an outlet to put it. Find a cause, find a hobby, a person to love, a group to be a part of. I think that would really help you. Group energy wants to be your biggest strength, is what you think is your weakness, your emotions. Other people vibe with it, and when other people vibe with your emotions, you all get along because you're understanding, you're considering. I think Aries needs this environment. Or maybe you didn't have it and that's what you're seeking. Let's get one more. Oh, you know what? It's like the lottery up in here. That's kind of what Aries is too, you little fireballs. You just will randomly play the lottery and win. Okay, so it's the spirit of the child manifesting. Anything can happen. Miracles are only told, they don't exist to adults. Kids don't know that yet. That's why they say kids can see ghosts easy, because they don't know they're not supposed to. You might resonate with all of that. Aries are they have, what would it be called? Premonition dreams, where within a week or so, your dream will come true. It's also the same way that you manifest. If you want that apartment, if you want a new job, it usually happens within weeks for Aries. Just remember that. If you're focusing on the strategy of feeling attacked, it'll happen in weeks, okay? Your mind is what you create with, and I don't think that anybody has made that a good place or a safe place or explained it to you in a way where you could really understand how to deal with things. And they ought to have, because everybody just runs around calling Aries energy chaotic and childish, and it's like, yeah, why is that a bad thing? That's what moves things. That's what shakes things up. Which parent was scared of that? Please step forward and explain why you shut your child down, like, no, we don't do that to each other. And I think that you fight for this. You're like, it's not right. But you know what? That spirit of fight comes with, I will do something about it. I will constantly fight this. And sometimes that can rope us into a relationship where we constantly will work with it. It's just, that's what love does, is it pulls us, and we don't always get to choose when we leave. When our mind chooses, it doesn't always make our body leave, or vice versa. Sorry about that. That's my son. If anyone doesn't know, he's on a ventilator. I'm not usually rude to people in the comments about it, but if you go, ugh, I'm gonna be. If you just say, what was that noise, I'll answer it, but it's too much energy to pre-meet the Thor in everyone and to assume they're leading with that. You know what I'm saying? Very seldom people are. Let your personality shine. Number 33, you have something no one else has that makes you who you are. Stop comparing yourself to others and allow your uniqueness to shine through. Jellyfish, and they're red jellies, which can sting. So it's almost like people can look, but they should not touch. That should be your MO for a minute. They should just watch you, and then when you, instead of hurricaning or feeling like you're destroying things, you'll put all that energy to get you to where you want to be, and then you'll spread the love. You'll be able to provide for people. You'll be generous. You'll be able to have a stable family. Like, you'll have these things that you're building your mind, that your mind is building on with. But if you attach too early and somebody doesn't understand what your purpose is there, they're going to feel like you're stinging them. So it's trying to highlight this idea of you can learn patience. You can learn to just breathe and see things, and I think that was even in the Aries video that I just did, which is funny because I just did it back to back, because randomly I started with Pisces this month for I was going to say responsibility reading, but the relationship reading. Okay, so now there's something that you're upset about that it's beyond your control. It doesn't even involve you particularly. Grieve that. Whatever this means to you, grieve that. It feels like death or loss or literal cancer. I don't even... It feels like it's stacked up. It's stacked up. I don't know if that's over years or over like treatments or something coming back. I don't know, it just feels like this overwhelming thing that you have no control over, that might not even be a part of your body. And it could be a child, like a baby. Or losing a home. This will help you tap into that. This is the only thing you don't want to look at right now, and I think it's just grieve this for a few days or a few minutes, and then see if anything changes in a couple hours. Grieve it for a day, see if anything changes in a week. There's something here that wants to flow it's too painful to let it, but just it wants to be something that's sad so that you can accept that it is, so that you can move forward. You're at the end of some type of a cycle right now. But this time I think you're supposed to, like, you're feeling it and your strength is coming through, but what you're stepping into is the Emperor and the Queen of Pentacles. So if you want like a different narrative of, I always feel like I have to go, handle yourself this time with some compassion and like let yourself not see anything as weakness that's a part of you for just a moment. Because that's how we would teach it to a kid too, right? And like, no, that's not supposed to be undermining anyone's intelligence at all. It's just sometimes we need to be talked to in a different way to understand what's being said. And I think strategically, from Mars's perspective, at some point, if you bottle up emotions, that gets channeled, so Mars energy comes off as war. But that's the whole point of this reading, is that you don't want to come off as war. You want to come off as love. You are love. You are seeking it actively and consciously. So it's okay to seek it, you know, in more areas than just a relationship. Because that might be why relationships aren't working, because every time you get to a point where you need to express yourself, someone else feels like you're red jelly stinging them, and you're not. And they don't know how to handle it, and then it triggers them, and then you're like, I needed help, though. I just needed somebody to be there with me, and I thought you were the one that I could trust. So it's saying, try to trust your friendships. It'll give you better discernment over when people in relationships will or will not give that to you. Because you do trust very easily. but also you're moving forward with a lot of distrust because of your past, and it seems unresolved in a realm of, does real love, I'm dreaming of it, I'm going for it, but is it going to come to me? I want solid friendships, I want an openness, but is it going to come to me? Is it going to be my turn in this life to experience that? And I think it's saying, if you want it, yes. Anything you want, yeah. If you dreamed it up, if your intuition brought it along for this long, it's supposed to be with you. Okay, let's pull a card. This is my last one for what is, look at that, the prostitute and the prince. It's so funny because it's like, there's been this dynamic of Aries and Virgo here this whole time of like someone trying to talk to you in a different way, but to appeal to a different nature and then bring something out in you and make you realize that you're more, or you're not just one thing. You're not just one bundle of energy. You're multifaceted, and how you see yourself is the better definition of you than how anybody else would see you in only your weakest moments. It could never just be that would be so. Think of a cancer treatment, right? Look at the strength that's behind going through that. If you just can hold space for yourself to continue it in your own way, you'll demonstrate the strength and the gracefulness of it more than your discomfort with it. You feel me? Because I don't think that you want people to understand that you're uncomfortable. How does Aries think that they're sabotaging when it's really just their greatest blessing? Aries, this is like your mega number. It's that one. The Hermit. You guys have so much Virgo energy. It's crazy. And Child Wounded is at the bottom. Okay, so how your shadow, how you think you see yourself. Look at this person too. Keeping his heart warm. Are you joking? Withdrawals from society out of fear or negative judgment of others. Refusing to help those in need. Maybe feeling a little bit like, my resources are dwindling, I can't go that way. That's that feeling of lack and lack of trust that other people will keep giving and keep being, and it's a whole mindset, right? How are you really on the inside? Seek solitude to focus intently on inner life. Serves personal creativity. You're like, my inner child could never, it could be sad, but it could never be wounded to the point that I would not let it be there. And that's the beauty of the child, is that it can't not be the child, and that there's so many great qualities to it. But it doesn't see it because it's always getting criticized because everybody's trying to shape it. When children come, that you should learn from your children. If your child doesn't change you and you expect them to fall in line, you miss the whole point. You should learn from your children. They have much to teach you, but first you just have to get through the barrier of that. They're not listening. They're not, right? How people think about you. Maybe you're supposed to usher in this energy of, oh, this is how we feel, so this is how they feel. New generation, new ways of doing things, right? That was so cool. Thank you guys so much for being on my channel. All right, I hope that helped. Love you guys. Bye.